With Vince McMahon having a life-altering surgery and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Following Britt Baker's promo on Dynamite, a fan would respond to her writing, "Develop a performance center for wrestlers like Britt Baker so they improve their craft. She was horrible last night, and she wants to face the Queen Charlotte Flair one day, please." Baker replied, "Sorry sis, I couldn't hear you over those DMD chants, but bullying looks just about as good on you as that heinous yellow dress." Talk about the relationship today between Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. It was said in the Wrestling Observer newsletter regarding the Young Bucks cooperating with Cody Rhodes on the Peacock documentary and releasing some BTE footage, and Rhodes saying that they talk regularly. The three actually talk more now than even before. Regarding her impending return to in-ring action in AEW, former women's champion Thunder Rosa told Busted Open Radio, "I'm mentally preparing myself when I return to the ring because I know the criticism is going to come out. I know the criticism is going to be out there and I won't read it because I don't have time to read it. I have a team that does that. People don't see all the pain and trials and tribulations we go through as performers. People are getting very used to nonchalant insulting people on social media because they can't get into a physical altercation." With Dana Brooke being recently sent back down to NXT, it was noted that Ringside News recently discussed Dana Brooke's NXT return with a tenured member of the creative team. We asked whether her recent work in NXT has boosted how they view her internally. We were told that no one ever doubted Dana Brooke's work ethic. She obviously puts in the work to be the best version of herself possible, and that was never in question. Touching on how Triple H viewed him during his time in WWE, Rob Van Dam said on his One of a Kind podcast, "I felt some resentment because I was told that he was anti-RVD in the business meetings and the agents and everything, so I took that personally. And then also, I felt that there was some heat there building up, and this was about the peak of it. I felt that he was, I don't want to say pretentious, but I felt like he would treat me in a way that was tongue-in-cheek disrespectful where he thought it was going over my head, but it wasn't. I had a build-up of that and stuff, so that's how I remember that coming together right there at the Staples Center. So if I'm asked, do you feel like he held me back or kept me down? I guess that's evidence right there if that's how the jury was wavered. But also, he had a right to have his opinion and his judgment, and he sat in that position in the office. I didn't used to be able to give him credit for that, and now I do. Look what he's done. Now he's running everything. Obviously, you can't say he didn't know what he was doing or talking about, but I do feel like if it was that side of him, or if it was somebody else maybe that was pro-RVD, then I think a lot of things probably would have been different." On his Keeping It 100 podcast, Conan was asked if WWE needs MJF when they already have Grayson Waller, as he replied. First, about the fan was saying people getting tired of MJF talking about WWE, that's Tony Khan's fault. You should tell him not to say it anymore. If he signed a contract, then he is gonna stay there. He's probably thinking, oh, this is getting heat, but I think I feel the same way. Quit bringing it up all the time. I know that it got heat at the beginning, but now it's kind of worn out. And here's another thing, I like Grayson Waller. If I had to choose between Grayson Waller and MJF, I'd get MJF. When asked about possibly breaking up with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens told Xfinity, "There is one thing about our careers that can't be denied. When we felt like it was time, we had no problem stabbing each other in the back and getting to it. I guess me more than him a little bit, but he's done a couple. If we think it's better for our careers to fight than to team, we have no problem doing it. But yeah, we'll be tied to one another forever. There's just no way around it, so we'll see what comes." Mentioning who he favors in the SummerSlam match between world champion Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, Teddy Long told the WrestleBinge podcast, "Seth Rollins. Like I said too, I like Finn. He's a great guy, man, but I just don't think he is ready yet." Previously on AEW Dynamite, a fan sign was shown on television that was critical of the booking for the women's division. Now, Fightful has reported this regarding AEW stars being upset when it comes to the women's division. A lot of the women are, but there's also a lot of people who are very aloof and like, why bother type of stuff. And obviously, you're never going to win those people over no matter what. You're just never going to win those people over. Speaking of the AEW women's division, indie wrestler Lufisto recalled her only match for an AEW Elevation taping back in April, where she said, "It's cute how people blame booking for a bad women's division, talent with too much power, talent denigrating each other, talent trash-talking potential employees so they never get in as soon as they walk in. It starts here. The one you called effing French-Canadian a-hole. This is the first time I say something publicly after over a year. I'm not going to throw names on an app with limited characters. There are several details and a context to explain the whole story with accuracy, which I'll do when the opportunity arises." When a fan claimed she ruined her chances of being hired by AEW, she replied, "No worries, no need for such a toxic environment in my life." For more details on the matter, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful said this about the accusations of AEW having a toxic environment for the women. Yes, there is truth to it. There is somebody that tried to hold her, Lufisto, down, that talked trash about her. There's a lot of trash talking within that locker room. It's something that I've constantly heard about over the last couple of years. I can't point fingers and say who. A lot of people pointed the finger at Britt Baker and said, "You talk trash about Thunder Rosa." Listen, there's a lot of it that goes on there. I will say this about Britt. Britt experienced some stuff that nobody should ever have to go through, and I understand why she's got her guard up in that sense. But the Lufisto thing, Lufisto, among people that work with her and have worked with her, she just holds some of the highest respect. And there was a not so good situation that I am of the belief emerged from a ton of miscommunication that didn't help her out when she came in there, because it was supposed to be for a lot more than what she was brought in and ended up doing, at least as it was relayed to me and relayed to her. And I mean, this is from the April show last year where she worked Dark Elevation. She worked like a 3-minute 6-woman tag. There had been people that I talked to that claimed they were going to be looking at her as a potential coach. Then when I followed up and said, "Oh, what happened there?" They're like, "I don't know." And then I was told no meeting happened, anything like that. Replying to a fan online asking him not to retire anytime soon, AEW commentator Jim Ross, who has been away from programming, responded, "No plans to hang it up at this time, appreciate you." Speaking about Kofi Kingston's recovery from ankle surgery that has kept him out of action, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful revealed, "I was told that Kofi wasn't supposed to be that far off from returning, but that was a week or two ago, I believe." In some unfortunate news, it appears AEW star Scorpio Sky is injured and will be away from the ring to recover, as Sean Ross Sapp said during a Fightful Select Q&A session. "A freak accident is what I've been told. Just an absolute freak accident, and nobody knows how long he'll be out. He was on crutches at the show." As Rey Mysterio's match against Santos Escobar was called off by medical staff, an update on the Master of the 619 was given, as WRKD Wrestling wrote that, for those concerned, Rey Mysterio's injury on SmackDown is a storyline. With Bray Wyatt having been out of action since the build to WrestleMania, Ringside News said this regarding his whereabouts. A report recently came out that said Bray Wyatt has been to a couple recent television tapings. It was said that WWE is currently pitching ideas for his return to the company as well. Sadly, we can confirm that this is not the case. Ringside News reached out to discuss this situation with a tenured member of the WWE creative team. We were told that Bray Wyatt has not been to a single television taping. The report about Bray Wyatt showing up a couple of times in recent memory is fake news. He has also not made any trips to the WWE headquarters. At this time, Bray Wyatt's name is still missing from the internal roster, but he is still under contract. Bray Wyatt was reportedly suffering from an illness, and it hasn't gotten better. At this time, he has not been cleared. and they are not discussing any ideas for his return. SummerSlam was reportedly a landing pad for his return, and although there was once hope that could happen, it's apparent that he's not booked for the biggest party of the summer. For a health update on WWE, Chairman Vince McMahon Fightful reported that he had surgery. Vince McMahon had major spinal surgery last week. We're told he's now recovering. The surgery lasted about 5 hours and was a pretty intensive one. It would be added that we've confirmed with WWE sources that the surgery took place last week, which kept him from doing any work on SmackDown or Raw after. Overall, the surgery is said to have been nearly 5 hours long, and those close to him claim that it was a major life-altering operation, as it would be for anyone who underwent it. We asked WWE if this would affect his work moving forward, and we're not given a direct answer on that. However, we also learned that Triple H was not at WWE Raw this past Monday, and the show was ran by Bruce Pritchard. However, Triple H is expected back imminently. Several talent that we spoke to said they had no idea about Vince McMahon's surgery until it was made public. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.